Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks so much for coming. Let me just turn that off. Let Doreen take over the waiting room. And I am Amy Antonucci, a New Hampshire Peace Action board member. I'm really glad to welcome you to our Peace and Justice Conversation series online on Monday, June 15th, 2025. Tonight, we're really happy to have with us Moji Agha, a longtime friend of New Hampshire Peace Action. He's going to be talking with us about paths to peace with Iran. Let me just mention that for over 40 years, New Hampshire Peace Action has been educating, mobilizing, and organizing to build a more peaceful and just future for all. We'd like to acknowledge that we do our work on the traditional ancestral homelands of the Abenaki, Wabanaki, and Pennacook peoples, past and present. Quick reminder that we love when you keep your video on, though you obviously don't have to, but we will have your audio muted to start with. You can use the chat for questions, and later on we will move to doing some hand raising, and we'll tell you when that starts. So we'll get to that a little later. But first, we are going to hear from our speaker, who I, again, am pleased to introduce to you. I know most of us already know him, but Brother Moji Agha is an Iranian-American reformist Muslim Sufi monk and a bilingual poet and writer. Moji works on a lot of projects that are forward-looking, trying to make connections and build peace and nonviolent solutions now, as we also say no to the things that we need to oppose. He's one of these folks building the new world at the same time. He has joined us, he joins us very regularly for our Monday night sessions and participates that way. So we know a lot of you have had the opportunity to meet him, but he, doesn't often get a full hour to participate here and lead the conversation. And we're really pleased for that to be happening tonight. The timing is really good. There's been big news around Iran and that war, so he can help us to interpret that to some extent. But again, he will also be talking about his longer term, bigger picture projects that go farther than just stopping a war and instead work on building a true peace. I'm going to hand it to him now. Moji, thank you so much for joining us. We are glad to have you.
Thank you so much for inviting me again. And I don't see my housemate, 87-year-old, very eager to attend this session, housemate. So please give me a minute to see whether he has a problem. Just, you can say some things or as Joan Rivers says, you can talk among yourselves.
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourself until I come back. And I'll be soon.
Okay.
All right.
I see. All right. I was not ready to do a little song and dance. Maybe I'll tell you a few of those upcoming events that I usually save for the end. How about I tell you about a few of them now? Let me let you know that next week on Wednesday, June 24th from 7 to 8, we're going to have one of our New Hampshire Peace Action acts night. So an action night. It's on Zoom. And we will learn about something and take actual action together. That is the way we run these action nights. We're really pleased because this time our new summer intern, our summer youth intern, is going to be joining us, Remy. And Remy is particularly going to discuss with us what it's like to another internship he did was actually in a senator's office. So he was one of those people that answers all of our calls. So this is going to be his opportunity, or our opportunity, to hear from someone who does that and how can tell us how those are received, etc. So that's happening next week. I think Moji is back, so we'll let him take it from here and I'll pick this up later. Go ahead.
So thank you so much, and it's wonderful to see most of you. I can recognize the names and some of your faces. And I am in Boulder, Colorado. And is this being recorded, by the way? Okay. Um, and so I am in the past, especially in the past since January. Today is the first day I have a little bit of optimism, given a little bit of optimism at this point, given that there is a memorandum of understanding that has been signed electronically by the narcissistic, electronic signature of Trump, and somebody from inside Iran also signed it electronically, as well as the President Shahbaz Sharif of Pakistan, whose government has been a very diligent intermediary. And so this memorandum of understanding to stop the war, hopefully, and to open the Strait of Hormuz and to remove the American blockade of Iran's ports, which is a war crime, to stop that, is going to be signed, this memorandum of understanding, apparently on Friday in Geneva, where our Vice President Vance, so-called Vice President Vance, is going to be signing the actual document, and also the people who will be signing from Iran is the Speaker of the Parliament, and I don't know. I don't think Dr. Pezeshkian, the President of Iran, will go to Geneva to sign this, but it will be signed at least by Ghalibaf, who is the head of Iran's parliament. So it's a development that I am cautiously optimistic about, and and it's a very important step, because in the same way that the Nixon going to China was a milestone, and it couldn't happen under a quote-unquote liberal, easy on communism Democrat, and it needed a Republican, a so-called conservative. So in this case, it is the transformation that it hopefully this memorandum of understanding will enshrine and enter a new era, as Iran's president said today. This memorandum of understanding will be followed by a 60-day negotiation period for the actual agreement. So this is the good news, that I am hoping that it will not be again sabotaged by Israel. The chances of Israel sabotaging it is high. But in this case, if Netanyahu goes against Trump, given that Trump has a midterm elections coming up in this country, as we know, and also Netanyahu is facing, the Parliament of Israel is going to be, have its latest election in October. So it's possible that he may not challenge or disobey or whatever Trump. Therefore, he may not sabotage. But yesterday, Netanyahu sabotaged on the birthday of Trump by attacking again Beirut in Lebanon. And so there are lots of roadblocks. There are people who don't want the sanctions to be lifted. They don't want, and including inside Iran, there are forces that like and benefit from the the current state of Cold War between Iran and the United States, and they benefit from it economically. They benefit from it, politically, and among the countries that have benefited so far from the Cold War state between Iran on the one hand and Israel and the United States on the other hand, the are also China and Russia that so far have not opposed, but they haven't jumped in the on the list of the countries that have welcomed. So we'll see. They are basically taking a wait and see attitude. But I am very cautiously optimistic that due to a number of reasons that hopefully this one may result in the cessation of the war and the blockade and the beginning of sanctions that have been imposed on Iran, hurting the Iranian people and benefiting the regime. But hopefully this will be that that milestone or the beginning of that milestone. So I want to, as I thank New Hampshire Peace Action for inviting me to speak tonight, and I want to talk about, as Amy said, some of the projects that I'm pursuing that are hopefully would help the peace process to take hold. The peace process, for it to be taking hold, there has to be a number of durable, let's call it durable making peace processes. One of them is the Minab Iran School Memorial Monument for Peace, and then which is a project connected with the peace-seeking Iranian veterans project called Roadmap Toward a Global Iran Peace Agreement. And so the current agreement is right now hopefully will be negotiated in the next 2 months, 60 days, or after Friday, 60 days, between Iran and the United States. However, there are lots of countries around the world, including especially in the region, that are, in conflict resolution terminology, they are stakeholders to the conflict and therefore to the resolution of the conflict. So, um, so let me show you the Minab School Memorial Monument for Peace. Let me share the screen if I can find that. Where did it go? Come on. Share. Oh, it's more. Okay, share. Okay. Um, and here is the logo in development of the peace-seeking of the Minab project, and this is an image that developed as a result of me. I'm crazy. I'm a Sufi monk and a peace activist with weird, impossible to achieve ideas. So on May 3rd, just this past May 3rd, 40 some days ago, in the evening, it just occurred to me, wait, is it possible because I'd been the issue of Minab and what happened to the children of the school in Minab with 3 American Tomahawk missiles was on my mind, and I was grieving, and I was asking myself, what is it that I can do regarding Minab? And then on May 3rd, this crazy idea came to me. What if the people who built the missiles participated in building a memorial monument in Minab on Route 91 at the intersection of the little street that on which the school that was destroyed is located? So then this is thanks to my Bernie supporting Berniac, I call her Eliza Guerra. She is the artistic ally of this project. I asked her to draw a logo, and this is a logo in development. And basically, it shows on top of the monument to be built, there are 2 dove birds of peace with olive branches that join together and then connect to a rope, a pink rope. In the case of this angel bird is a girl angel, depicting one of the girls that were killed. One of 168 kids at school were killed in this savage triple tap attack. First, they send a missile and killed a whole bunch of people. Then people rushed to help the children and the school and the teachers and everybody. And then they sent 2 more missiles to kill some more people. So this depicts one of the little girls, the soul of one of the little girls as a girl angel, and with, as you can see, there is a school bag with some blood on it. And so the monument is, the way I have it in mind or in heart, is this would be one of the 7 children riding a merry-go-round. 2 of them will be boy angels with blue wings. Sorry for being stereotypical, but the boy angels will have a blue school bag with blood on it and blue wings and aura. But then this right now you can't see it because Eliza is working on developing it into a graphic, fully graphic art depiction. But this rope will become pink in her case, and it would connect all of their school bags. And so essentially the 2 doves of peace are lifting the soul of the angels into the sky. As you can see, the background is a sky blue. So, and then when this complete logo will show a merry-go-round on which there will be 7 angels, 2 of them boys, 5 of them girls, girl angels, and then it will be erected on a on a pole in the median of Route 91 in Minab, in that section of Route 91 that hopefully, possibly, will be enveloped in a in a bubble, in a sphere, so that we don't have to worry about the rain and the weather elements and stuff like that. So, but it will be, and there will be lights in it, and hopefully the merry-go-round will go round and round and round, because we're dealing with a schoolyard. These little kids were playing in their schoolyards between their class periods. And so anyhow, let me stop the share here at this point. And so then I said, okay, we need to have this project in order for it to be able to contribute to a durable peace between U.S. on the one hand, U.S. and Israel on the one hand, and Iran on the other. There needs to be a number of things that would include this monument as a profound statement, or a profound grief and apology, a statement of by American people to Iranian people, and to the Minab community, and to the families, and to the soul of the little girls and boys that were chopped off before even they grew into adults. So a statement of apology, profound apology, would be, and this would be a gift built by the American people, hopefully with the participation of the people who built those horrible missiles in the Tucson plant of the Raytheon factory. And we have the Veterans for Peace Chapter 13 in Tucson as the lead Veterans for Peace chapter, and they, Kara Bissell and other people are members of this chapter. I am an at-large member of the chapter, and I am also an associate member of Veterans for Peace, as you can see on my hat. And so then we're going to, and I'm running through all kinds of material to give you the most crazy elements, but this project is something that I am hoping that the government of Oman is south of the Gulf of Oman, east of the Persian Gulf, and it has the closest international airport to Minab that would be friendly to this project. So what I'm hoping is that Veterans for Peace Code Pink, of which we have hopefully we'll have Medea Benjamin, but we have and what I'm trying to say is that we are hoping to get Code Pink, Veterans for Peace, about face veterans for against war. And yesterday we had our meeting. In our meeting, the the Palestine Connecticut Palestine Alliance and hopefully New Hampshire Peace Action, and I'm inviting Amy to hopefully join the monument team. And so then once we have a solid organizational foundation for this project, then we will go to the Embassy of Oman and to say, given that the government of Oman was such a really stalwart advocate for mediation in this project, and that Muscat, Oman is only 200 miles southeast of Minab, perhaps we could have the local base for the putting together of the actual monument in Minab, and then the government of Oman will hopefully reach out to the, and this is another crazy idea, to the Vatican. And I am hoping that we will set the grounds for the first trip of Pope Leo XIV to go to Iran, to Minab, to participate in the opening ceremonies and the solemn commemoration on the second, if we can pull it off by then, on the second anniversary of the horrible attack, which will be on March 28, 2028. And so anyhow, that's the one project that can help heal the wounds, that the many wounds that as a result of the overthrow of Dr. Mossadegh of Iran in 1953 by the CIA and MI6, as I'm sure most of you know, there are lots of wounds that need to be healed. So this profound statement of, or profound gift of apology and grief gifted by the American people to the Iranian people in Minab, hopefully with the blessing in person of Pope Leo XIV. So we would have to reach out not only to the Embassy of Oman, but also to the embassy, I think it's called Nunez, but anyhow, the embassy of the Vatican in Washington D.C. and then of course we need to build relationships with the government of Iran to allow the permits, to allow, I mean, there are lots of complications that can arise because people would say, wait a second, Americans are gifting us, what's behind the curtain here? What's going on here? So there are a lot of people, as a result of the decades of colonial machinations, that inside Iran people would be, especially in the officialdom, in the government and the regime, they would be suspicious of this. Hence Oman, hence the Pope, and all the other things. And the last point I want to make about this is that I, about a month ago, I woke up from a dream, and the lyrics in Persian and English of a Minab lullaby flowed. And I brought it up to the attention of Sharon Abreu. She is a wonderful, wonderful peace and environment activist, and she is Jewish. She is not a Zionist, and she is an absolutely great singer and musician. So we have um, you know in development a Minab lullaby song and music performance, and I'm working with Sharon to get that going, and it will be presented at at our workshop in in the National Convention of West, August 6 to 9. So Jody Evans, who is our co-founder of Code Pink, ally to this project, she will be the chair of our session, and I'll be a presenter, as well as Kara Bissell, who is a president of the Veterans for Peace chapter in the same city in which in which Raytheon, that built and weaponized those missiles, exists. So Kara Bissell will be a presenter, and she said she's actually going to travel to Kansas City for this conference or convention, annual convention of Veterans for Peace. I'll be going there most likely, and Jody Evans will be the chair. She will be there. She is a keynote speaker at the conference, and so anyhow, they there are different facets of healing the wounds that is required in order for durable peace to be able to flourish in this conflict. And so that's one project. Another project of which it's both of these projects, as you can see in the chat. I have sent in the chat a couple of links. One of them is the Minab Monument project. The other one is the toward a roadmap toward peace. Toward a global Iran peace agreement. I can see somebody has written in the chat that they would like to connect this to another, to help action and paying for the tuition and poor Iranian students and paying music lessons. Beautiful ideas. Thank you, Evelyn. But let me finish the presentation. Then we will hopefully have time.
Yeah, Moji, don't even look at the chat. We'll deal with that after.
Okay, great. Thank you. But so the other project, as I said, and you can see the link, is the. Let me go to that page, and then go to, where is this logo that Eliza Guerra wrote? Hold on, let me now go and share. Okay, and then share. Okay, as you can see here, it's what's on the table. The roadmap to global Iran peace agreement, and then organized by the peace-seeking Iranian veterans, of which I am the founder, and we have people inside Iran, and this project has three pillars. One is, I read it for the sake of the recording. Pillar one of the global Iran roadmap to global Iran peace agreement is our papal special intermediary invitation. And as summarized below, given how dire the current situation is, this is like, I wrote this about a year ago. Our proposed roadmap hopes and prays that the Holy Father Pope Leo XIV would kindly accept our humble invitation for him to become a special intermediary in the increasingly dangerous conflict between Iran and the US and its global North allies, including Israel. Pillar number 2, which I will mention, is a globally collaborative nuclear fuel bank, so that the issue of enrichment of uranium and the 400 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium that is at the heart of the conflict, right now buried somewhere, who knows where it is. But if the nuclear fuel, production of nuclear fuel, is taken out of the exclusive ownership of the nuclear weapons states in the nuclear non-proliferation treaty, nuclear nation states also have monopoly on nuclear fuel for power plants, nuclear power plants. So a globally collaborative nuclear fuel bank under the auspices of the United Nations will then bring out the notion that non-nuclear states, non-nuclear weapons states, who are worried that their nuclear fuel for their power plants will be cut off by the monopoly of the global North, including, of course, the United States, then this globally cooperative nuclear fuel bank will solve that problem. And then pillar 3 is the Minab School Memorial Monument for Peace. And then the vision is our roadmap begins with a portrait of cultural and political differences as resources to bring about win-win resolutions to the conflict. And the goal is to cultivate peace-oriented communities in each hostile nation, to then expand into consultation with the peoples of government and civil society to build sustainable peace structures. And I am assuming that you are able to see the connection of how these two projects are interconnected. And anyhow, there is a project synopsis. You can read all about this in the link that I sent in the chat. And so let me see if there is anything else that. Okay, I'll read our proposed roadmap in a capsule. A, strengthen multilateral peace-oriented collaborations and especially innovative structures such as the Nuclear Fuel Bank, internationally collaborative nuclear fuel bank, that promotes sustainable peace and stability. That B, would serve as realistic alternatives to the current dysfunctional structures and systems with their destructive incentives for ever-increasing militarism and for responding to differences with hostility and war. So in other words, our roadmap simply renders violence unnecessary. So anyhow, these were the two projects that hopefully will help this right now, the currently negotiated and signed electronically, the memorandum of understanding that would at least stop the bombings in Iran and Lebanon and the region, and then hopefully we'll go into a 60-day process of negotiating an agreement initially between the United States and Iran, but then we need to have lots of countries, as you can see in this in the roadmap project that's in the chat, that all of those countries need to become incentivized for peace as opposed to having incentive for continued conflict.
Thank you, Moji.
So thank you. And now I'm ready for questions, comments, reflections, and whatevers.
Yeah, we definitely are going to get into those. Okay, Gail, let's have you go first. I have one myself. Go ahead. Let you unmute now. You have to hit unmute. Okay, there you go.
Hitting it down on my audio instead of up on that other screen. Okay, so I think that their cultural and political misunderstandings that we have to resolve is really critical to a lot of these things. The ethnocentrism of at least the United States, if not most Western countries, is really profound, I think. And when you have leaders who don't understand that there's more than one way of thinking and doing things, it really causes a lot of issues to foment. And I think your projects sound wonderful. They're very adventuresome, and I think and I can see why you would like to do this. And I think, but tying it into somehow making sure that there's discussions about how we're really all the same, that we're all looking for the same thing, whether it's through our religion or through our governments or through anything. We're all working towards one thing, which would be peace that does not kill people, and so I think that it has to be some sort of a tie-in when you're doing this and having the big picture, and which you probably have. I'm just, because I'm sure that you've thought about all of this, but it seemed to me pretty important, part of your proposal, which I thought was absolutely essential that it was there. And then I'll have a question later on. I'll let other people talk. Okay.
Or you can ask your question now. I think.
No, that's okay. I want to see where the conversation goes.
I see. Okay.
Did you want to respond a little to that, Moji, or?
Well, I just say yes. We are Saadia of Shiraz, one of my favorite poets, wrote 800 years ago in a celebrated poem that I had to memorize as a second grader when I was a child. That members of humanity are limbs to one body, made from the same from the one essential precious essence. When the passage of time brings pain to one limb, other limbs cannot remain indifferent. Therefore, Sadi admonishes us morally, you who are unconcerned with the suffering of others, it's not fitting that you be called a human being. So we are so interconnected that when we do horrible things to supposedly to the other, to other humans or other countries, that we are harming ourselves, and of course we are harming Mother Earth. So thank you for that beautiful comment.
I'd like to ask, thank you, Moji. I love your proposal, and I think that individual connections between people in different countries, I think cultural exchange, I think all of this is really wonderful and helpful. I want to ask, though, on another level, as you've said so beautifully many times, let's see if I can get it, external colonialism depends on internal despotism. Did I get that right?
Dr. Mossadegh said, yes.
Okay.
Dr. Mossadegh said after the coup and before the coup internal despotism and external colonialism are two sides of the same coin,
Okay. Yeah.
especially when they need one another as enemy.
Yeah. So that is my question, because a lot of what's happening, I don't think has anything to do with nuclear the things that they state aren't really what's going on. That we know really there's just a tremendous amount of power that people have accumulated and they don't want to give up. And I'm wondering what you think. It seems that this particular moment, which I am anything that lessens violence, I think is good. But the overall outcome of all these few months of violence seem to have been even more concentrated power, both in Iran and maybe in the U.S. So I think the larger picture, and someone else, was saying in the chat, like, essentially what a mess, and what a loss we've had, and what are the consequences. So while I applaud and I'm happy to be part of the project you're doing, I'm also interested in your ideas about how to deal with this larger issue of the systems issue we have, that these giants in power are bashing each other, and we're just getting, we're all collateral damage. So do you have any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. First of all, welcome to the team of MISMOP, Minab School Memorial Monument for Peace. So right now we have our 15th member of the team, the loving, peace-loving Sister Amy Antonucci. So I want to welcome you and thank you. I'll put your name on the list immediately after the Zoom is over. Before I go and watch the game, the World Cup game between Iran and New Zealand, and guess whose side I would like to win. And so as far as the increased after this horrible war of aggression on Iran, yes, there are people who have inside Iran, as well as in the U.S., as well as in Israel, there are forces, that political forces, and which are interconnected with economics, that they say as a result of the war situation, and the country be in real danger, that they are trying to take advantage of the conflict situation to empower their vision of how the world should be, or how the country in Iran at least should be run. On the other hand, the futility of this war of aggression by US and Israel, and the fact that it wasn't able to overthrow the regime in Iran, as they said that was their initial and the goal, the fact that it didn't happen, and it is, inshallah, God willing, resulting in a resolution of the conflict, would then strengthen the hand of democratic, nonviolent forces, hopefully in the United States, but also hopefully in Iran, which is, I'm the founder of this other project that we don't have the time to get into, but it's called the National Peace and Democracy Coalition of Iran. So the forces right now that are hoping that this cessation of hostilities and lifting of the sanctions and the warfare, especially the blocking of Iran's ports, those forces that have been opposed to sanctions and want peace also want democracy. In a war condition, democracy is the first victim, as we can see here in this country. Democracy is being killed by the military-industrial complex, which thrives on $1.5 trillion of military budget. And so the more peace, the more democracy. The more war, the more destruction of Mother Earth. So I can see Terry's hand is up.
Yep, I'm going to have Terry unmute. I think it should. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Moji. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
I don't know how Raytheon will actually respond to your request, but countries don't start wars over solar power, solar or wind power, which is wrong. Well, oil and gas is so bad. But anyway, my question was, I read that there were psychiatrists guiding Iran to deal with Trump, to deal with the negotiations. Is that true?
Well, I mean, there have been people, including psychologists and social scientists who have been observing the, I'm a retired psychologist, so I can join all my fellow professionals to say that Trump has a, pretty almost acute case of narcissistic personality disorder. Therefore, it is wise of the government in Iran, the regime in Iran, in the process of negotiations, to allow some kind of a narcissistic reward for this so-called president of the United States, so that, because he unfortunately is supported by 1/3 of the American brainwashed population. Therefore, yes, there have been some advisement or some counsel within the Iranian regime to not to respond with, tip to tap to the threats that he has been making. So the answer is yes, and I am hoping that some of the measured responses of the regime in bringing about, in collaborating with this memorandum of understanding being brought about, have been happening. And I can see a Professor Evans.
Hi, thank you, everyone. Good morning, good evening, and thank you, Moji. It was really inspiring and refreshing to see the vision of peace, given your connection to the country, and also given how the media outlets in the US have shown basically one side. It's been very biased, and no other voices have been able to be raised in terms of these peace agreements. I speak of how our leader of the US has really tried to usurp the peace agreement. And I quote him when he said, I authorize Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, even the tone of that is like, okay, you're giving permission. Great. So you talking about that just now was exactly what I was talking about. And forgive me if part of my question has already been addressed. I had to step away for a moment. But with this action going forward and trying to bring some peace, do you feel that Lebanon should be part of the conversation given Israelis' occupation of Lebanon? And what are your thoughts on Israel kind of not being in this sort of essential core of like what the peace agreement is about, because I keep hearing, according to, again, the US media outlets, that Israel, the US is going forward with all of these plans and projections, but Israel has not been a part of it or has not sanctioned it.
Thank you for your beautiful question. I am actually, Lebanon is among the number of countries that I wrote in the global Iran peace agreement that is linked above in the chat. That Lebanon is among those regional countries that are actually in conflict resolution language, a stakeholder in the conflict. And therefore, yes, Lebanon needs to be brought in. Okay, let me put it this way. There is the memorandum of understanding leading to a 60-day window of negotiations for an agreement, and then that's the beginning of the process of peace building with all kinds of countries. Of course, Lebanon, that has been savagely attacked by Israel, is one of them. And as far as Israel, Israel is so far has been represented by the United States in the worst possible way. And so I don't, in the language of the roadmap toward the global Iran peace agreement that is linked in the chat, I have actually expressed the fact that I have mentioned the word Israel, except I said, okay, Israel and the US foreign policies are basically the same. Hopefully now, with Trump being mad, supposedly, at Netanyahu, hopefully the foreign policy of the United States will begin to become independent of the Israel first foreign policy, hegemonic foreign policy. So the answer to your question is Lebanon is absolutely important in the process, and I am hoping that the global Iran peace agreement or the process of developing that in the roadmap would then, I am assuming that we need to have an international conference for this, because the US-Iran relationship or conflict is a global conflict, as we can see by the Strait of Hormuz being blocked and the impact on the world economy. So thank you for your question. And I see a chat.
We only have a minute left, though, Moji. So
Left.
if you can be real quick.
Okay.
I need to wrap up, and we have to end.
Hold on, let me see. No, okay. I mean, people can read the chat, and I thank you, everyone. I sent already my email, and if you are interested, please, send me an email so I can send you the link. Although you can go to that project, and my email is there in both of these projects that are in the chat. So I thank you again, Amy and New Hampshire Peace Action, for having me for this third time, actually 2.5 times. I have been a speaker in your beautiful, peace conversations.
Thank you, Moji. And let me just say a few words before we break up here. Thank you to Moji for presenting. Thank you to everyone for being here, for bringing your questions and thoughts and listening. The series is free. We welcome your support, however, at nhpsection.org/donate. I want to mention that you can keep up with us and what we are doing at nhpsection.org. We also have a YouTube channel where most of our Monday night programs and other programs go. So you can check that out, catch up on things you might have missed, learn a lot. We've had a lot of wonderful speakers. I'm just going to give a few upcoming events that I didn't get to yet. Our vigils for a just peace in Palestine continue. Wednesday, June 17th from 2 to 3 p.m. will be at Representative Pappas's office, well, up the street from his office in Dover, 3rd and Central Ave. Thursday, June 18th, noon to 1, people will be in City Plaza of Concord. And June 24th, 2 to 3 at outside Senator Shaheen's office in Dover. I let you know already about our New Hampshire Peace Action Night coming up. Let me also say that our next Peace and Justice conversation via Zoom will be on Monday, June 29th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That will feature Carlos Cardona about U.S. militarism in Puerto Rico, past and present. And I also want to mention, if you're here in New Hampshire, on Sunday, June 28th, from noon to 4, we have our annual meeting at Bear Brook State Park. We're going to talk about our work, hear your thoughts, have a potluck lunch, meet some pro-peace candidates, and learn more about bird dogging and be led in songs of resistance. So that should be a really great time together. Again, thank you all for being here.
Wait. Amy, I would first of all, I thank you again. Sorry for cutting in between your sentence. I would like to have New Hampshire Peace Action as an organizational ally of the MENA project.
We'll have to talk about that later.
Yeah, right.
Follow up. I'm sure we can. I literally have another 8 p.m. meeting. Okay. So we've got to shut this down and free up the space. But thank you all again.
And I have a World Cup's Iran versus New Zealand soccer match to watch.
Yeah. So sorry we didn't get to all the comments. There's so much we can talk about, but we'll keep having these meetings and keep